All right, let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm Wally McDermott from Scality. I'm going to introduce our two panelists here in a second. But today, we're here to talk to our channel partners about how we can help you fortify your customers' defenses against ransomware attacks. Very happy to announce a new validated solution by Scality, Veeam, and Cisco. So to get started, I have two esteemed guests today. Mark Paulin is a solutions architect from Veeam. Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Wally. Pleasure to be here.
Anil Demon, technical leader from Cisco. Anil, welcome.
Thank you, Wally.
So guys, we've been working together on this for 3 or 4 months now. Weekly discussions and a lot of technical validation. So really excited to have you join me today to talk about this new solution. So what Anil, Mark, and I are going to talk about is a validated solution that Veeam, Scality, and Cisco have been working on. You see on the left-hand side a Veeam solution sheet that is available on the Scality website. But what we're discussing is the Veeam Data Platform version 12, which Mark and I will touch on just a bit, the Artesca object storage solution from Scality, which I'll certainly cover, and then both of those products running on the Cisco UCS C240 servers, which Anil will get into at the end of the presentation. How is this relevant and helpful to you and your customers? Well, I think we all know, and Mark's going to talk quite a bit about this, is that ransomware is a real issue for virtually everybody, organizations large and small. Feel like we can't go a week or maybe even a couple of days without seeing another headline in the news about some organization that's been attacked. And your customers are looking to you for solutions. What we're going to talk about today is a really easy to sell, easy to use solution that will back up your customers' data and then protect those backups from ransomware attacks. This is an opportunity for you to grow your business, again, with an easy to sell solution, and I'm going to point you to a lot of resources at the end of the presentation for follow-up, but I guarantee you your customers are thinking about this. And then again, at the end of the presentation, our three companies have a ton of channel support and incentives available to you to help you drive your business. So with that, Mark, I'm going to pass you the talking stick. I'd love for you to walk us through sort of what Veeam is seeing in the market around ransomware attacks and how those are impacting your customers.
Thank you, Wally. It is my pleasure to be here today speaking with you all. I think you all know, if you're familiar with Veeam, that we only go to market through the channel, so we rely on you guys to carry that message. And we thank you for the work and business that you've done with us in the past, and we look forward to working with you. Again, our organization, we've got 1,600 sellers across the company. Here to work with you to get it done, both sales, technical, channel, the whole thing, even that includes myself on the alliances side. So plenty of resources. If you're not getting what you need, make sure you raise your hand and get what you do need. So, okay, we're here to talk about ransomware. It is very much a topic of great importance to our end user customers, and the reason is it keeps getting worse. 85% of our customers, according to this year's Veeam Data Protection Trends report, available on the veeam.com website. If you haven't read that, it's a great read. We got an outside agency to talk with 3,000 customers, not just Veeam customers, but across the market, about the challenges that they're facing around data protection. There are a couple other companion reports, ransomware trends, and also cloud protection trends. They're easy reads, great nuggets of information in there. But the headline grabber here is 85% of customers that were polled in the last year got hit at least once by a malware attack or ransomware attack. That was, just once. there was something like 30% that got hit 6 or more times. So, we used to talk about if you get attacked, then we talked about when you get attacked. Now we talk about how many times are you going to be attacked. And there's a webinar coming up from our one of our chief technology guys, David Russell, and it's titled Embrace the Breach. So we're trying to shift the mentality to, being fearful of these things to really taking more of a warrior pose, bring it on, and doing what's needed to be prepared for that and treating malware attacks as learning opportunities. There are things you need to do before you can get to that mentality, clearly, and we'll talk through some of those. Again, the numbers are staggering. 16% of organizations were able to recover without paying the ransom. That the ransomware business is going to keep going and going strong until that number gets driven way up. And the ransomware insurance business is going strong. There's only one reason that ransomware insurance business is going strong. The insurance companies are making good money doing it. So IT organizations, our combined customers, need to up their game, and they need tools that are easy to work with to up their game. We're here to talk about those today with Veeam, Scality, and Cisco. And the last one, the customers that were able to, that actually paid the money and didn't get their data back, almost 1 in 4. So again, really, really pathetic numbers over the last year. I'm hoping that these numbers improve dramatically in the 2024 report. Next slide, please. So that's looking at the amount of data that got impacted, how many times, and then you start saying, okay, well, even if you got the ability to recover, recovery isn't necessarily easy. I've been in data protection now for 17 years across a number of different vendors, and I can tell you that most of those vendors focus on backup, not recovery. That was a shift when I joined Veeam 6 years ago. Recovery, I would say, is more important. Years ago, everyone talked about backup performance. In the last year, I have not heard anyone talk about backup performance. The conversation is all around recovery performance, because you're not going to be recovering what it used to be, which was a file share or maybe one database. Now it's all the files, all the databases to get back online after an attack. On average, it takes 3 weeks. Again, I'm hoping with the 2024 report, which will come out in the spring, that we're going to see that number come down dramatically. But, if you look at the over in the yellow, orange, and red, if it takes that long to come back, you're out of business in most businesses, most industries. So this is, there isn't anything more critical than this. Next slide, please. Don't negotiate with the criminals. I understand when you're, our customers, when they don't have what they need, they are forced into this position. That is a horrible position to be in. It is our business to go out and help them get to a position where they don't have to negotiate with the criminals, and they can get back to business fast by leveraging Veeam, Scality, and Cisco products. Next slide, please. 3 things, right? Keep it simple, powerful simplicity. And I won't go into a lot of detail, but when it comes to data, one thing to keep in mind, customers, if they've got insurance, which many do now, if here in the US, certainly in EMEA, definitely, when they have an attack, they're going to notify law enforcement. At least that is my hope. that they all do. I know some won't, but that means that the data center is now a crime scene. They're not recovering back into the same data center that was attacked. They're going somewhere else. Data portability, critical, right? Relying on industry tested standards is also critical. And then not having an appliance. I know that some of our competitors, and I don't want to say anything bad about my competitors, I want to compare and contrast, but some of our competitors that are more appliance focused, they talk about the benefits of appliances. Let me tell you about the drawbacks of appliances. When you've got an appliance, a black box, that is one thing that can be compromised and game over, right? That they will try and paint Veeam, Scality, and Cisco as a complex solution. Okay, it's secure, and it has multiple resiliency domains, multiple layers of security. So you hack one, okay, you didn't get the keys to the kingdom. So relentless security. We just released version 12.1 of Veeam Backup and Replication this week. That release, there's a what's new document out there, 24 pages of new features, 20 pages of them are security features. So integration with other security products, hardening what we've got today. So, just a huge release. Every other company I've ever worked for, that would have been a major release. It probably would have been something like version 13. Veeam calls it 12.1. And then that portability that we talked to gives you the ability to recover not only quickly and cleanly, but to do it anywhere at a managed service provider, at a cloud hyperscaler, wherever it makes the most sense for you to recover. Next slide, please. And this just gets into, some of the capabilities that we've had and that we've enhanced in this last week, right? Early detection, being able to scan the backups on a routine basis. With 12.1, with 12.0, we had the ability to do very deep scans, but it was something that was resource intensive enough that you only wanted to do it, say, on the weekends. With 12.1, we now have inline scanning. We have the ability to run Yara rules. Again, check out that what's new in 12.1 document. It is chock full of security features that I dare say will leapfrog some of the folks that we compete with on a regular basis. Next slide. So I mentioned multiple resiliency domains and not having that black box. The reason is that if you compromise that one appliance, you've compromised everything. There was a time when the 3-2-1 rule for backup was the gold standard. It isn't enough these days. You need that additional stuff that Veeam adds, the 1 and the 0, so it becomes what we affectionately call the zip code rule. So you've got the immutable backup copy. There's your Artesca right there with S3 object lock protecting all that stuff. The ability to encrypt your data at rest. That's so if it gets exfiltrated, they can't leak it online and charge ransom for that. And then the ability to check those backups to ensure, validate that you can actually recover for them. Again, I've worked for a number of data protection companies. They'll all give you a backup report with the green check mark at the end of it. That means the data was backed up. Can you recover it? That is a different question. Now with compliance and regulation, here in the US, even more so in EMEA, you've got to prove that you can recover, and Veeam has the automated tools to do that the rest of the industry is still playing catch up on. How many years later? I mean, it seems almost ridiculous that they haven't caught up on that. All of this on a, doing all this on a Cisco UCS platform, which we've got guidance for on how to harden that. So you're hardening at the hardware layer, you're hardening at the Artesca layer, you're hardening at the Veeam layer, and you've got these tools in place, Veeam tools as well as your security tools, which we now integrate with, so that you have a complete picture of what's going on in your environment in real time. Next slide, please. So just some simple graphics. What does that look like in a data center? Well, all the stuff that Veeam can protect, multiple hypervisors, vSphere, AHV, Hyper-V, physical servers, Windows, Linux, AIX, Solaris, Mac, NFS file shares, SMB file shares. With 12.1, we've extended our unstructured data backup engine to include object storage, including Scality Ring, for example. Veeam can now back that up and back it up to as little as one, but I don't even know what the limit is. Wally, you're gonna have to touch on that, but you can scale out these C240s to get exactly what you need. But again, start with one, scale out, so you're adding performance, you're adding memory, you're adding bandwidth along with the storage, so you're not slowing down the backups and critically the recoveries as you grow. And again, the little lock there, that just accentuates that everything you put into a Veeam object repository backed by Artesca is protected by S3 object lock with immutability. Next slide. So big picture slide to bring it home, and then I'll hand it off to Wally, right? All the Cisco production gear, whether it's FlashStack, FlexPod, UCSX servers, or Cisco Compute Hyperconverged with Nutanix offerings, running your critical applications, whether that be at the core or in the edge, that can all be protected by Veeam, backup and replication, to Artesca running on Cisco UCS C240 servers, and of course, everybody, or almost everybody, there's still a few holdouts, is a hybrid cloud shop today. So there has to be the ability to put this data, backup data, up in the cloud. That could be AWS, Azure hyperscalers. We support more than that, but it could also be, more focused cloud storage providers or managed service providers. There's lots of options there, and you've got bi-directional movement of data from all of those. So you get, with the core cloud edge, you get what I call the cloud round trip. And with that, I will hand it over to Wally McDermott. Thank you.
Mark, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Before I get into a little bit of product information, I think everybody is familiar with Gartner, the analyst firm. They do an annual Magic Quadrant for scale-out object and file storage. Scality was announced as an 8-time consecutive leader in that Magic Quadrant a couple of weeks ago. Fewer people know about this critical capabilities report that Gartner puts out as a companion piece to the Magic Quadrant. In critical capabilities, Gartner goes a little bit deeper into everybody's products, and they look for performance capabilities, immutability capabilities, cost efficiencies, things like that. And last year, Gartner ranked Scality #1 for the backup use case. So I believe Veeam is #1 in market share in the backup space, data protection space, according to IDC. Well, what better object storage partner to put along with your Veeam application than the #1 solution for the backup use case? So we're super proud of that ranking. This is a quick refresh or introduction to Scality's two products for those of you who may be familiar with us or not. Scality's been around since 2010. We're a software company. Our flagship product since our founding is Scality Ring on the right-hand side of this slide. I'm going to talk mostly about Artesca today. Ring is amazing technology. It's a higher end product. If you have dozens of petabytes, if you need a geo-distributed solution across 2 or 3 sites, if you need incredible performance for like a Splunk workload, Ring is going to be your choice. I'll just give you one quick example for those of you who've been on an airplane. 60% of the world's boarding passes through your mobile phone come off of a Scality Ring. That same ring powers 1 billion with a B airline searches every day. So for your higher end, more sophisticated workloads, Ring is going to be the answer. But a few years ago, we realized that not every customer problem needed a super sophisticated product. And so we introduced Artesca. It's object storage, just like Ring. It's lightweight, so it's really geared toward an IT generalist, but it also has all of the enterprise security and data protection features that you're going to need. So quick overview for those of you who are reselling Artesca to our joint customers, thank you. It's sold via subscription, which includes both license and support, and it's based on usable capacity. It's a little bit different than many other competitors in this space who charge on raw. So more often than not, Scality is going to come across as more economically viable for your customers. To Mark's point, we start at 1 node. This is somewhat unique in the object storage space. A few years ago, everybody thought of object storage as many, many servers, petabytes of data, and that is still true, but there is this very interesting emerging market, quickly emerging market for much smaller object storage capacities, and this is where Artesca is a perfect fit. Mark, you asked the question, how much does Artesca scale? Well, it can start in tens of terabytes up to about 5 petabytes. That's a 6-node configuration. Of course, it depends on how large your drives are and what servers you're using. If you need more than 5 petabytes, we can certainly address those workloads with Ring. Artesca can copy data from one location to another for DR and backup. And again, this is really developed for you, our channel partners and your customers who aren't storage experts. So you can get started with Artesca in about 30 minutes. It's super easy to install. I'm going to point you at the end of the presentation. You can download an OVA as well and try for yourself. This can be used by enterprise customers for sure, but it's also a great fit for smaller organizations. Maybe if you're selling in the US to like a SLED customer. SLED is state, local, and education for those of you who are not in the US. Those customers get attacked a lot by ransomware. So that's a really interesting vertical for the Veeam, Cisco, and Artesca solution. Mark talked a little bit about Veeam Data Platform version 12. That was announced earlier this year in February. They just announced version 12.1 this week. Mark and I will talk a little bit about that at the end of the presentation. If you're familiar with a Veeam architecture, and obviously this is super simplified, you've got your Veeam server on the far left, and then you can have different tiers. You can have your performance tier, where your immediate backups go, and you store those for a few days or a week based on what your requirements are. You want to be able to get those backups back very quickly in case you have an outage or you've been attacked. You can use both Ring and Artesca as your performance tier. That is new in version 12. Mark mentioned this direct to object capability, and I'll talk more about that on the next slide as well. But before version 12, you could not use object storage as your performance tier, and now you can, which allows you to use object across your entire architecture in the performance tier, capacity tier, and then long-term retention as well. There are a number of really cool features in version 12, and now, according to Mark, even more cool features in 12.1. But some of the highlights, data immutability, in other words, the Amazon S3 object lock specification. Scality has supported that since its initial release into the market. That means that when you add a backup and make a copy, you can't modify that copy. So you always have a version of your data that has been protected from ransomware. Direct to object, I mentioned that before. That's a great benefit to your customers because now instead of having different storage solutions for different tiers, they can have one solution for all of the tiers. Earlier this year, Veeam announced this SOS API, Smart Object Storage API. That's really interesting and cool for a company like Scality. It's clear that Veeam is elevating object storage to a first-class citizen from a storage perspective, and they're integrating capabilities to expose object storage functionality within the Veeam UI. We were an early adopter of the SOS API, and we'll certainly continue to support it as it evolves. For those of you who are selling to MSPs and service providers, as Mark mentioned, there's this secure mode functionality that allows you to have a super secure multi-tenant architecture. And then I'm just going to skip down. The instant recovery feature, I think, is super interesting. When we all go to YouTube or whatever your favorite streaming service is, we click on the play button and the video immediately starts playing. And we know inherently we don't have to download that video to watch it. Well, that's kind of what instant recovery is. If you have an outage and you need to get back online as quickly as possible, with Veeam and Scality, you can press that instant recovery function within Veeam, and the VM will stream and immediately start running. Even in the background, Veeam and Scality are fully restoring that. Really interesting capability. All right, Anil, can you please walk us through the Cisco capabilities in this new three-way solution?
Yeah, sure, Wally, and thanks. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in. I'm Anil Dhiman, technical leader with the Cisco UCS Solutions Group, with focus on data protection solutions. So let us look into how Cisco Unified Computing System, or UCS, complements with both Veeam and Artista and provides a differentiated platform for secure backup and fast restores. So as you see on the left side, the high-level deployment configuration for our recent validation of Artista on UCS C240 large form factor. The C240 rack server is a large form factor server offering supporting up to 16 3.5-inch drives, which can each drive can have a capacity of up to 22 terabyte as of now. And these drives are all managed through a RAID controller. All the UCS infrastructure is managed through Cisco Intersight, a SaaS infrastructure management platform, which through its single dashboard allows visibility, management, and deployment across data centers, edge, or remote site. Subsequently, we're going to talk more about Intersight. Mark and Wally elaborated on how a three-way solution proves to be a differentiated solution. I would add more to this from the infrastructure perspective. We provide a reference architecture with best practices and guidelines to deploy Artista and Veeam on UCS, which enables customer to easily and quickly deploy a joint solution across data centers. With this solution, you could manage the entire lifecycle of hardware platform through Intersight. Day zero, day one, day end challenges like firmware upgrades are all easily managed through the Intersight platform. On the key selling aspect for this solution is Cisco Intersight, which also supports connected and private appliances for those customers who don't want to hook up to an external cloud. A key differentiator for Intersight is the security advisories, field notices, proactive RMAs, and connected Cisco support, or TAC, as we say. In the next few slides, we'll focus on Intersight and why this is one of the biggest value add for customers on UCS platform. Next slide, please. So let's take a closer look at Cisco Intersight Infrastructure Services, or IIS, and how it works. So IIS helps you simplify infrastructure management in three main ways: see, control, and automate. In C, unlike traditional silo tools, IIS gives you one consolidated dashboard to see your on-premise and edge infrastructure. On the control side, whereas traditional infrastructure management typically requires multiple repeated tasks, IIS lets you easily perform operations action across your global infrastructure. On the automation side, instead of having to perform tasks manually, Intersight lets you automate day zero to day end tasks and provides you with workflows to accelerate infrastructure operation. Customers can use Terraform or Ansible workflows to automate lifecycle management tasks. And what it brings for Artista is an infrastructure platform which is easy to manage, deploy, and scale across data centers, edge sites, or remote sites. Next slide, please. One of the main premise on which IIS was built on that IT operations team should be able to see your entire global infrastructure from a single dashboard. When you log into IaaS, you get a single customizable dashboard for viewing your global Cisco and third-party infrastructure. This includes server VMs, third-party servers, storage, and networking. Users can quickly see real-time status along with anything that needs immediate action, including network connectivity issues, security advisories, and field notices. As you see from the testimonials from the healthcare customers and government organizations, using Intersight indicates that comprehensive visual access into the environments provides an invaluable way to quickly identify and address potential issues. Next slide. Intersight, on the control side, Intersight simplifies infrastructure management by giving you control through the life cycle of your global infrastructure. From the Intersight dashboard, you can execute day zero deployments, including converged infrastructure stack deployments such as operating system installation, hypervisor, and network configuration. You can easily manage and troubleshoot. For example, the connected tag capability provides automated support processing. Control of your infrastructure from one dashboard makes it easy to perform tasks in just a few clicks. For example, you can assign role-based access to control who sees which devices and the actions they can perform, manage the full list of inventory, connect to KVM, upgrade firmware, and open a support case. Next slide. So security is the top of the mind for all customers, and Wally and Mark talked about ransomware protection, but how do we protect it from the infrastructure side? Intersight is built with security, which is top of the mind and helps you operate with security as a top of the mind insight. It supports industry standard security protocols such as HTTPS, TLS, AES, complies with Cisco InfoSec security, ISO 27001 certified, SOC 2 Type 2 certified, and a trusted global provider of the cloud security alliances. So on the operation side, the Intersight provides security advisories identified by Cisco Product Security, incident response team, audit logs, recording all the actions taken on the infrastructure. It integrates with security information and event management like SIEM platforms like Splunk. So in a nutshell, it builds with security as top of the mind and leverages all the security standards available in the industry. Next slide. So let's get into the automation side. The automation helps you accelerate the delivery of applications and infrastructure. It also reduces risk by standardizing configurations and deployments. Intersight provides two options for automating infrastructure lifecycle management. Using the drag and drop workflow designer and library of tasks and workflows to build custom workflows. This option opens automation to organizations that may not have the resources to develop automation using sophisticated tools. Or if your organization does have resources and may already use other tools for automation, such as Ansible, Terraform, or other tools, you can use the Intersight API and SDKs to build or incorporate your automation. Moreover, as part of a joint solution, we plan to provide a Cisco-validated Ansible scripts to quickly deploy Artisca-optimized hardware profiles for Cisco UCS servers managed through Intersight. Next slide, please. So this would be my last slide, bringing it all together. Cisco Intersight combines with the simplicity of a software as a service with actionable intelligence derived from analytics and machine learning. By moving management software to the cloud, we relieve users of the burden of maintaining systems and systems management software and hardware, and provides a comprehensive platform to visualize, operate, and automate your entire Cisco UCS infrastructure, which itself is a key value differentiator for our three-way solution with Cisco, Artisca, and Veeam. Back to you, Wally, and thanks a lot, guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Anil. Thank you, Mark. Here's a repeat of the slide from the beginning of the webinar, just highlighting this new validated solution from Scality, Veeam, and Cisco. Some of the words that I've heard over the last 20, 30 minutes, pretty interesting. What did you say, Mark? Relentless security on the Veeam side. I love that. Automation from the Cisco side. Ease of use on the Artisca side. Obviously, I think that's true across the whole stack. but this is really an interesting three-way validated solution available from Cisco, available through your distributor partners that helps protect your customers against what is probably the #1 threat against their business today. A few calls to action from the Scality side as follow-up. For those of you who are existing Scality partners, thank you so much for your support in your business. Like to join our channel program. We have a partner portal available to you. Pretty easy to find, partners.scality.com. You see in the lower right-hand corner. Feel free to register. We'll approve you. We have all of the things you would expect in a partner portal. You can register deals for deal protection. We have all sorts of marketing collateral and training material available for you, and access to a number of incentive programs, which I'll talk more about here in a second. I mentioned at the top of the webinar, we have an OVA for our Artesca product that you can download from Scality. Again, pretty easy, scality.com/try, T-R-Y. Very simple to do demos, proof of concepts. Obviously, it's not meant for full production, but if you want to get up and running and try it and show your customers how easy Artesca is to use, please hit our website and sign up for the free trial. And last but not least, I've mentioned channel incentive programs a couple of times. We have something we call the Artesca Challenge. Again, many of you have probably signed up for it at artesca-challenge.com. This is a way for you to earn points. Points equal money that you can redeem for prizes. You can earn points simply by registering an opportunity with us. And again, you get protection when you do that. And then when those opportunities close, depending on the size of the opportunity, you get additional points. So please hit our partner portal or the Artesca.challenge website for more information. All right, we do have some time for Q&A. I think I see a couple of questions in the chat. I actually might start one out for Anil. Anil, you talked a lot about Intersight, which is awesome. Thank you. I love the concept of a dashboard that gives people visibility and automation. I think visibility and automation are two keywords that customers love. How is Intersight licensed?
Yeah, Wally. So like a year back, the licensing was of Intersight was pretty complex. There were several tiers of licenses. But now we have made it very simple. There are just 2 tiers of licensing, the Essentials and the Advantage. With the Essentials, you get all the monitoring aspects, firmware management, third-party server operations. Most importantly, the connected tag and the security advisories. All this are part of the Essentials. And the second tier is the Advantage, wherein you get, the automation and workflow orchestration. A tunneled vKVM feature wherein you could just KVM to a server even though you are not in the same network, and that helps a lot. Just assume you are on your laptop without connecting to the actual network, server network. You could just you have access to Intersight. You could just KVM to that server and access that server. So that's called the tunneled vKVM. The OS installation is also part of the Advantage tier. So simple two tiers, Essentials and Advantage. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. So Carson, you had asked for the OVA. It is today only available for VMware. I see your request for Hyper-V. Thank you. I don't think that's in our short-term plans, but I will pass that along to the product team. Apologies, we don't have that today. Everybody, thank you so much. Neil, Mark, really appreciate the partnership over the last 3 or 4 months building this solution. For the attendees on the call today, please go to partners.scality.com. You can get all sorts of information about our products, our incentive programs, and more. And I thank you, everybody, for your time today.